can't believe this viral theory reveals big evidence that Blackbeard will really replace Imu as the king of the New World. It goes way back with Davy Jones's curse, the Will of Rock's Disabek, and everything we know about Blackbeard's abnormal power. Most people point to Imu as the shadow ruler of the world, but what if Imu's just the stepping stone and the real final ruler is someone much closer to Luffy's world? Blackbeard, the son of the infamous Rock's Disabek. But we need to talk first about his devil fruit before diving deeper to the lore. What if Teach isn't a Logia user at all? What if he's a mythical Zoan? Some fans believe Blackbeard's fruit is modeled after Daikokutin, the Japanese god of darkness, fortune, and thievery, a literal god of chaos. And guess what? Daikokutin is associated with voids that swallow anything. He's revered as a luck deity for thieves, and he's portrayed as a three-faced figure, which oddly matches Blackbeard's three skulls. If that's true, then Blackbeard isn't breaking the rules of the One Piece world. He's playing by god-level cheat codes. He's destined to steal, to collect, and to overturn the heavens themselves. And that would explain why his fruit behaves more like a bottomless pit than a standard Logia. Here's something wild. The final war in One Piece won't just be a battle of ideals, but might already be playing out as a game of Reversi. We've already seen the Marineford War, and we've felt the chaos of Wano. But Oda's saving something much bigger, an all-out global war that'll make everything before it feel like a warm-up. And if you've been paying attention, the hint's been hiding in plain sight: board games. During the Wano climax, Go pieces were used to represent the war. But in Chapter 1121, the setup on the board looked different. It matched the exact opening formation of a Reversi match. And here's where things get really interesting. In Reversi, the game begins with 2 white and 2 black discs. The whole goal is to flip the board to your color, dominate. But if you map this to the current One Piece story, those discs could symbolize 4 major forces: Luffy, Blackbeard, Imu, and Koby. Luffy and Koby representing white and liberation, Blackbeard and Imu representing black and domination. And what's the literal translation of Doi Reversi in Japanese? Black turn, domination. The direct opposite would be white turn, liberation. You see where this is going. The board is set, the players are moving, but one question still lingers. If Blackbeard and Imu are on the same side of darkness, what happens when Blackbeard decides he no longer wants to share the throne? Let's stop pretending Blackbeard is just another Yonko. He's not Kaido, he's not Big Mom, and he's definitely not just some strong brute chasing treasure. Blackbeard is the most pirate-like character in all of One Piece, and that's exactly why he's going to be the final villain. Oda confirmed it himself. In the SBS of Volume 62, someone asked why Blackbeard's crew originally included a beautiful female pirate, only for her to vanish in later drafts. Oda's answer? Because the Blackbeard Pirates were meant to be the most pirate pirates in the story. That gritty, raw image? He worked years to perfect it, and if One Piece is ultimately a pirate story, it only makes sense that the final enemy isn't some ancient king or celestial puppet master. It's the pirate who represents everything Luffy isn't. And that brings us to something massive that most fans overlook: Davy Jones. Back in March 2024, a theory dropped on a small channel, barely noticed at the time, that linked Blackbeard and Rocks to the legend of Davy Jones. But now, the entire story is starting to line up with it. And here's why it matters. In the prototype version of One Piece Romance Dawn, pirates were divided into 2 types: the Peacemen, pirates who maintain balance and protect, and the Morganeers, pirates who destroy and bring chaos. Vegapunk, in his final message, warned the D-Clan that among you there is Mo. That word Mo in Japanese, it can mean also, as in there's also someone among the Ds who doesn't stand for freedom. But there's a deeper layer. Mo might be short for Morgan, referencing the Morganeers of Romance Dawn. So, what if Blackbeard isn't just a D? What if he's the descendant of the Morganeers, the ones meant to destroy the world, not save it? It would explain why he showed up with a full set of teeth in that one chilling panel. Why Vegapunk hesitated. Why even among the D-Clan, Teach feels like an intruder. Because if Joy Boy represents the Will of Dawn, Blackbeard might carry the Will of Dusk, and his ancestor, Davy Jones. Before Luffy, before Roger, before even Rocks, there may have been 2 original Ds whose battle shaped the entire world: Joy Boy and Davy Jones. You've probably heard the name Davy Jones tossed around in pirate lore, but in One Piece, his name might be more than just a spooky sea legend. Robin described him as a pirate cursed by the devil, now trapped beneath the sea. But something about that never made sense. Devil fruit users sink, they can't live underwater. But Davy Jones, he can only live beneath it. It's the complete opposite curse, and maybe that's the point. If Joy Boy brought light, celebration, and freedom, then Davy Jones represented the dark, cursed, and forgotten depths. 2 polar opposites. 2 Ds whose clash may have set the entire Will of D conflict in motion. And the names aren't random. Both Joy Boy and Davy Jones have rumored roots in Caribbean folklore, the same region that inspired the golden age of piracy. Joy Boy is said to reflect Caribbean figures known for dance, song, and joy. Davy Jones, based on the West Indian Duppy, a wandering soul that collects the drowned. 2 pirate archetypes. 2 legacies. Joy Boy's will pass to Roger, and eventually to Luffy. Davy Jones's will passed from Rocks D. Zebek to Blackbeard, and the contrast between Luffy and Teach has been there since day one. Mocktown, a bar, a pie. Luffy hated the cherry pie. Blackbeard loved it. Teach hated the drink. Luffy downed it like a champ. They didn't even talk much, but Luffy looked at him like he already knew what Blackbeard really was. Oda knew what he was doing. We already know Blackbeard's crew is actively hunting devil fruit users, but how exactly does that work? It's not like you just loot a devil fruit off someone's body like a dropped item in a video game. Here's the usual explanation. When a devil fruit user dies, the devil inside them leaves and finds the nearest fruit to reincarnate into. But Blackbeard isn't playing by those rules. His darkness has a unique, terrifying ability. It sucks things in. And what if, instead of waiting for the devil to escape and possess a new fruit, Blackbeard is pulling that entity directly into himself, grabbing it mid-transfer? And here's where things get even creepier. During the Dressrosa arc, we saw Burgess attempting to kill Sabo and steal the Mera no Mi, but Burgess doesn't have the Yami no Mi. So how is he planning to capture the power? He had something wrapped in cloth, something strange and ominous. What if that cloth wasn't hiding a weapon, but a fragment of darkness? Something created by Blackbeard, a small portable piece of his own devil fruit's gravitational pull, a devil trap. And that idea starts making even more sense when you consider what devil fruits leave behind. We've seen powers continue to affect the world even after the user dies. Big Mom's homies kept moving. Punk Hazard's climate was permanently altered by Akainu and Aokiji's clash. Devil powers don't always end with the user, so why not store that power like a black box, a miniature black hole waiting for the next soul to snatch? And remember what Ace once asked, where does Thatch's soul go after being killed? That line might have meant more than we realized. What if Ace suspected Blackbeard didn't just kill Thatch, but absorbed him? Because Blackbeard's body might not just be a host for devil fruits, it might be a locker. Just like the legend of Davy Jones's locker, a place where souls go to disappear. Blackbeard's body shouldn't work. No one else in the One Piece world has been able to eat 2 devil fruits without their body literally tearing itself apart. And yet, here he is, stacking powers, breaking the rules, and smiling through it all. Marco saw it firsthand. If it were a normal person, it'd be impossible, but Teach is a little different. What does that even mean? Different how? Well, there are 2 theories, and both are terrifying. Theory 1, his body was surgically modified using the Ope no Mi. Remember what Doflamingo said? That fruit can grant immortality, switch personalities, remove hearts, even completely restructure someone's biology. If Roxy Zebek really had the Ope fruit in the past, and if Blackbeard is his son, it's possible he used that power to alter Teach's body before he was even fully grown. Imagine it. Multiple hearts, extra organ systems, a human body rebuilt from the inside out for one purpose, to house multiple devils. But the second theory might be even crazier. Theory 2, it's not surgery, it's the curse of Davy Jones. Oda actually drew Davy Jones in an old SBS, and guess what? He looks suspiciously like Blackbeard. And Robin described him as a pirate cursed by the devil, forced to live at the bottom of the ocean. But that flips the entire devil fruit logic upside down. Devil fruit users can't survive in the sea. That's their weakness. So how is Davy Jones alive only under the sea? What if his curse is the opposite? What if instead of rejecting the ocean, his body absorbs it? What if Blackbeard isn't breaking the devil fruit rule? He's just operating under a completely different curse? Think of it this way. Davy Jones is said to trap the souls of drowned sailors. His locker collects ships, treasure, and spirits at the bottom of the sea. What if Blackbeard's body is that locker? Not a metaphor, a literal vessel, a black hole of souls, powers, and memories. It even makes sense of Ace's question. Where does Thatch's soul go? Because what if Teach doesn't just steal powers but traps people inside himself? In Japanese, the words locker and rocker are written the same. And who do we think of when we hear rocker in One Piece? Brook, the Soul King. The man who brings souls back through music. Brook frees, Blackbeard traps. One sings to release, the other devours in silence. A perfect contrast. Let's go way back to Roxy Zebek, the man feared even by Garp and Roger, the pirate who dared to aim not just for treasure, but for the throne of the world. What gave him that ambition? According to Sengoku, Rox got too close to the greatest taboo in the world. And now we know what that taboo probably is. Imu, the true ruler of the world, the one hiding behind the celestial dragons. But Rox didn't just hear about Imu, he met them. Chapter 1155 confirms it. Rox broke into the Room of Flowers at Pangaea Castle, but he didn't finish the job. He stopped because he realized something. There was a power inside that room he couldn't control. The national treasure. Doflamingo made it clear, you need the Ope no Mi to unlock it. And here's where things get spooky. There's a panel showing Rox making a gesture exactly like Laws when he uses shambles. That hand sign, that pose, it's not random. Oda has used identical poses before to hint at shared powers, like with the Bari no Mi. And in a later scene, the Rocks pirates are shown slicing through an iceberg. Something perfectly doable with the Ope Ope no Mi. Even the sound effects match. If Rocks had that fruit or access to it, then he was one step away from using the national treasure to take over the world. But he was missing something. He didn't have enough money. The Ope Ope fruit is said to cost 5 billion berries, the same value we once heard for the Gomu Gomu fruit in Romance Dawn. That's not just a price tag, that's how dangerous these fruits are, so Rocks needed time, he needed funding. But before he could get it, he was stopped. And years later, Blackbeard picked up where he left off. Here's the part most people miss. Blackbeard might already know everything. About Imu, about the Room of Flowers, even about the national treasure itself. And it's all thanks to one man, Lafitte. 2 years ago, when the Reverie was underway, the world government was distracted. There was chaos, riots, smoke rising from Marineford, and that might have been the exact moment Lafitte slipped in. He's not just a smooth talker, he can fly. He uses hypnosis, and he's been part of Blackbeard's crew since the very beginning. If anyone could have infiltrated Pangea Castle during the Reverie, it's him. Imagine what he saw, the Room of Flowers, Imu's silhouette, maybe even hints of the treasure Doflamingo spoke of. He wouldn't need to fight anyone, just observe, memorize, report back to teach. And here's the kicker, Blackbeard's hobby is literally studying history. He's not just chasing power blindly, he understands the system, the symbols, the things that have kept the celestial dragons in power for 800 years. He's probably figured out the same thing Dragon has, that the world isn't ruled by titles or fleets. It's ruled by one hidden force, and that force is Imu and the devil inside them. That's the real reason no revolution has succeeded, not because of armies or weapons, but because of one entity anchoring the entire world order. And now, Blackbeard wants to pull that anchor up and steal it. Blackbeard doesn't just want to become Pirate King, that's small potatoes. He wants something much bigger, something only Rocks D. Zebek dared to dream of, to become the king of the world. In the world of One Piece, no one even thinks about that title. The celestial dragons act like gods. The 5 elders bend reality. And Imu, they're a shadow that nobody even knows exists. But Rocks figured it out. He broke into the Room of Flowers. He met Imu, and he realized, if I take them down, the world is mine. But he couldn't finish it. He was missing something, the national treasure, and he didn't have the Ope Ope no Mi to unlock it. Now fast forward to Blackbeard. He's learned from Rock's failure. He knows he needs leverage, power, influence, and he's building it all right now. First, Garp captured. The next would probably be Borsalino, Admiral Kizaru. With Garp and Borsalino as prisoners, Blackbeard doesn't just have muscle, he has bargaining chips. And here's the genius. In chapter 1080, Blackbeard says he wants to turn Hachinosu into an independent nation. That's his official demand when holding Kobe hostage. But 46 chapters later, in 1126, his tone changes completely now. He says, "You can't win this without dealing with the world government. And the key piece I need is Kobe." He's not talking about diplomacy anymore, he's talking about war. So what if Kobe was just the beginning? If he captures Borsalino too, he could make 2 demands to the world government or threaten a double execution. And where would it happen? New Marine. Just like how Ace's execution at Marineford was staged as a spectacle, this would be round 2. A final public showdown. And this time, it's not just the world watching, it's the entire balance of power on the line. That's when it all comes full circle. Luffy as a pirate, Kobe as a marine, both pushed into a corner, and both forced to team up. A pirate and a marine facing down the most dangerous man alive. Just like Garp and Roger once stood together at God Valley. Now it's Luffy and Kobe that might be the second God Valley incident. Blackbeard doesn't just want to take hostages, he wants to send a message. And the perfect opportunity? A direct strike on New Marine HQ. Think about it. Right now, the Revolutionary Army is tearing through Marineford. If Sakazuki, the Fleet Admiral Akainu, is forced to personally respond like he did with the Kuma incident, that would leave the Navy's core base exposed. And who's left to defend it? Not Fujitora. He's banned from Navy bases. Not Green Bull. He's been going rogue. That leaves Kizaru. Borsalino, the same man who's been wavering ever since Egghead. The same man who killed Vegapunk with his own hands and visibly regretted it. He watched Bonnie almost die. He saw Saturn's cruelty. He realized the deal the world government made with Kuma was rotten from the start. Even his usual cold, professional smile couldn't hide the cracks. And it goes deeper. When he told Saturn, "Let me do this by the book," it wasn't just military jargon. That phrase, Sugiotosu, comes from old-school Yakuza code. It means doing things with principle, with logic, with honor. But the celestial dragons don't follow books. They rewrite them. Now Borsalino's stuck and torn between loyalty and morality. And in that fragile state, Blackbeard arrives. It'll be a battle of extremes. Kizaru, the man of light, fighting to protect a crumbling idea of justice. Blackbeard, the man of darkness, trying to tear the system down and rebuild it in his own image. And both of them rely almost entirely on devil fruits. In Film Z, Zephyr even mocked Borsalino for being too dependent on his fruit. And Blackbeard said outright, he knows the risk of relying on devil fruits, but he doesn't care, because the power is worth it. But here's the difference. Kizaru hesitates and Blackbeard never does. And in that hesitation, I think Kizaru falls. Just like how Rocks once killed a Marine admiral, Blackbeard will take down one of the Navy's last true symbols of power. The fall of New Marine will mark the turning point, the death of justice as the world knows it, and the rise of a new ruler of darkness. So here we are, the Navy in shambles, Maria Joie in flames, and Blackbeard rising from the ashes with two major hostages, Garp and Kizaru. But what comes next? Public execution, just like Ace. But this time, it's twice as personal. Two monkeys. Why two monkeys? Because the word Kizaru is derived from the Japanese word for yellow monkey, so that's it. Two symbols of the old world. And two reasons for Luffy and Kobe to fight side by side. It's the perfect setup for a second Marineford war. A battlefield where pirates and marines are forced to stand together against a power so massive, so corrupted, it threatens both. And there's one final detail. A quiet visual clue that's been hiding since the very beginning. The moon. When Blackbeard first made his move as a Yonko, the moon was shown full, a symbol of awakening. But in another panel, he's seen crying under a crescent moon. That's the same moon that appeared during Captain Kuro's attack on Syrup Village. And guess what he said? It's a crescent moon tonight. Nights like this get my blood pumping. Kuro, the first real planner villain in One Piece, was obsessed with faking his death and seizing control quietly. Sound familiar? It should, because Oda uses parallels. Kuro to Blackbeard, Django to Lafitte, both use hypnosis. Django made Kaya sign a contract. Could Lafitte make someone sign a devil contract? Oda even mirrored their designs after Michael Jackson. And here's where it gets scary. Django, originally a pirate, ends up joining the Marines. Could Lafitte one day betray Blackbeard too? Oda loves symmetry, and this might be a hint that even among devils, betrayal is inevitable. But that doesn't matter to Blackbeard, because he's too far gone. By the end, he won't just be a Yonko. He won't even be Pirate King. He'll be something else entirely. The man who killed the Marines, who dethroned the gods, who swallowed the light, and stood at the top of the world and as its true and final king. The will of Davy Jones reborn, and only one person will stand in his way. Not Joy Boy, not Roger's ghost, just one rubber man with a broken hat, a scar under his eye, and a promise to keep.